Hello legends and super legends. Welcome to Veloharmony. Today I want to talk about basic tools that every cyclist should have. It doesn't really matter whether you're all thumbs or whether you're a proficient DIYer. I wanted to go over the basic tools that you should have if you're going to ride bikes seriously, especially modern bikes, so that you kind of have a general idea how to do minor things on your bike, so you don't have to run to the shop and be dependent on them all the time, because that can really cut into your available time. And this may not be for everybody, but this is just to introduce people that are new and at different levels of cycling that may not be aware. The first thing I want to talk about is don't go out and buy a tool kit, like a toolbox, where they have all kinds of tools, like for $100 and you got 20 to 30 different tools, because you may not even use all of them. I mean, you definitely will not. The best approach is to start small, and then if you're one of those that get into other projects, then you get the tools that you need for the specific projects. What I'm going to be covering today will focus on the basic tools you should have for the general maintenance that you might need. So for example, I want to start with the 3-way tool here. Okay, let me hold it this way. This basically has 3 different Allen wrenches on one, and it's very, very useful. It's easy to handle, but the caution is don't torque too much, because since it's designed for you to get your whole palm around it, and on little bolts, you can do some damage. So you want to be really gentle to where you can feel the bolt when it stops. And that's the thing from the old school mechanics. I don't use torque wrenches that much, except when I'm doing bottom brackets or specific applications to where I know that bolt was designed to handle that torque, and then I use a torque wrench, which I have. But starting out of the gate, for what I'm going to be talking about today, we're not going to get into that. But what I want to stress is when you're working with bolts, only tighten them to the point where they stop moving. Once they stop moving, you don't need to keep going, because that's when you start stripping heads and doing other things if these slip. This is a 4, 5, and 6 millimeter 3-way Allen wrench. It's the most you will use as far around the bike. Most of the bolts on the bikes have, 3, 4, and 6, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I think this one covers, you've got 4, 5, and 6. So the 3 is on this one. This is a smaller one. And this one that I got goes from 2, 2.5 to 3. Between these two, you can do a lot of work. It will fit a lot of bolts, your bottle cages, your stems, headset nut, and different things. So it's good to have these because they're very good around the shop. This is not what you're going to carry on the road if you're messing around with your cleats or whatever. When you're doing that, you're going to be working with these. Let me bring this over here. This is a metal bowl that I keep my loose tools in. This is a 4. And when you're on the road, say you're messing around with a new cleat, those of you who do that, if you know what I mean, you want to take the short one. You don't need a long one. You can slip it in your jersey pocket to mess with. So a 4, 5, and 6 is a good starting point. Now, whether you get the individual one or whether you get the one that's like this, that's sold by Park Tool, I will put the link in the description here on my site for those of you who want to procure some of these things that you've seen on here. It will help you kind of get your toolkit started, because that's the way you want to go. Get what you need for what you're doing now. And then when you're ready to do another deeper project or different project, find out what you need and then get the necessary tools. If you're going to mess with your chain, then you find out what you need. So I want to cover the things that you should have, whether you're going to do it yourself or not. So you want the 4, 5, and 6, you want a 2, 2.5, and 3, because some of the 2.5 will work on like your pedal bolt, where you can adjust the tension on especially Shimano pedals. That would be great to have. And then you can decide whether you want to go to the level of getting something like this that you see in the shops. Okay, I'm just showing you don't have to get these. I like these because they fit under the saddle real easily, but you can also use something like this to fit under the saddle. And if you're going to do the individual ones, my recommendation would be you get something like this. I will put the link on here. This covers a good range from the smallest. I think the smallest they have here is a 1.5 all the way to a 10. So it's good to just get something like this. So you got these loose wrenches that you can work with. They're very good. And I took this one out of here, and it's a 4, and I have not put it back for months. I use this a lot, so I just leave it out. It came out of this one, and I leave that in that bowl. So that covers the wrenches. Now, as far as every cyclist knows that you need to keep your bike clean. It's not just for aesthetic reasons, which I don't like to ride a dirty bike. That's just me. It's also because by cleaning your bike, you will come across issues that may be coming up that you're not aware of. As you're working on it, you may find different issues going on either with your tires when you take the wheel off. And so that way you can check. This is one of the things I'm going to start doing a regular monthly maintenance video. Maybe if it's popular, then do it every week or every 2 weeks, to where we talk about what you check. Now, as far as checking your tires, before you get to that, I want to talk about your chain. If you're going to do any kind of extended riding, you need a chain tool. I'll put the link down there. This is made by Park Tool. It's very inexpensive. And it has great ranges on here, a 0.5 and a 0.75 that lets you know the kind of wear. At 0.5, yeah, they're saying you can still use the chain. At 0.75, you need to replace the chain. And in some of the other videos, I showed how to use it, how you dropped it in the link and so forth. You definitely need tire levers. Okay, this one's made by Park. It doesn't have to be Park. They make good stuff. So I like to get their stuff because they're very, very useful. There are some tire levers that are a pain to use. This is not one of them. I only carry one in my bag. I don't need more than one. If you have foldable tires, you don't need more than one. I will do another video about tires shortly where we talk about the different kinds of tires that are out there. But in the shop, you want to have at least, they're coming, I think, in 3s. I will put the link down there for those of you that need to procure them. But with a good tire lever, it makes it easy changing your tires at home or on the road. Okay, you keep one of these in your saddle bag, and you can have the other 2 in your shop. I rarely use more than one tire lever at a time because I use foldable tires. If you're using wire bead tires, you will definitely need all your tire levers to get it off because they're a pain. So you need tire levers, your basic socket wrenches. Now, as far as cleaning your bike, it is a lot easier to clean your bike by using a chain keeper. Those of you who saw my video that I did earlier in the year about a 30-minute bike wash or 35-minute bike wash, I used a Morgan blue chain keeper. I can't even find it now because it was a bit clunky to use. It had a knob that you tighten into the base of the rear end of the bike, the rear, where the tire goes. The problem with that was when you tighten it, it was not flexible, so I had to shift to move the chain to line the chain up. So what I did was I went and I got another chain keeper. This one's made by Pedro's. It has its problems too. And the reason I decided to focus on this today is because I worked with this for a while, and you can see it moves a bit, which gives it a little bit of flexibility, meaning that if your chain is shifted in the 12 and you put it on here, or the chain is shifted to the 15, this thing moved enough to accommodate the chain line. The problem with the Morgan Blue, it didn't move at all. So if you didn't put the chain in the right spot, you couldn't even turn the pedal when you took the tires off. Well, all of these, the problem with this is this one's too loose. So if it allowed the chain to flop around, and it was a headache. And about a couple of weeks ago, I got this in the mail from Sportiques Sporting Goods. After reading all the details on it, I decided to include it in this video because it has solved the challenges I've been having with chain keepers. I'm going to put the link down there because for those of you who are going to do your own cleaning, this is what you want to use. I'm going to open it. I haven't used it, but I didn't need to because I read up on it, and it fits the bill, and I'll show you why. So the problem I had with the Morgan Blue was that, first of all, putting it on the bike. As you can see, like the Pedro's, this has a quick release, okay? This is a quick release. So putting it on the bike is very easy. You slip it in, your bike chain keeper basically is this one. You can see how it moves nicely so that it doesn't matter where your chain line is. Let's say you shift it into 14. It doesn't really matter. It will line up wherever it is, and if it needs to move, it moves. What I like about it is it's not flimsy. They've got this nice aluminum shaft that this slides on, and then it has its own stops. And I was like, wow, this is exactly what I was needing. And then the chain, the quick release is nice and smooth, the action. The problem I had with the Pedros, you can see the quick release flopping? It was a headache to use. If you look at this, there is no movement. It's just like your skewer. Okay, they've resolved that. And whatever they put in here, it almost looks like some kind of ball, it feels like a hydraulic movement right here. Like there's some kind of a hydraulic movement. And it's just nice and precise. You feel it, nice and precise. And I was like, wow, this is exactly what I was looking for. The problem with this one is when you're working, you can see it just flopping around. As I tried to hold it, it just flops. And the action is like it requires so much tightening on the opposite side to get that thing to stay in place. So this one is worlds above them. And this is the keeper. This is the one I'm going to be using. And this is going to encourage me to do more cleaning on my bike because it was a hassle dealing with this one. And then the shape was a bit of a hassle too. This is a circular shape. So it's almost like your chain is on a cog. Okay? It's like you're putting your chain on a cog as opposed to the shape of this. I never understood why they did it that way. You can see this is not a cog. So they need to go back to the drawing board. Pedro's, they need to go back to the drawing board. Now, Sportiques, on the other hand, has put a lot of thought into this. This material here feels like the same thing they use to make other bike parts, like the thing that holds my Garmin. It's anodized aluminum. Anodized, and you can see the color. It matches my bike stand. I'm sure it's pretty accidental. But the thing is how this moves. The reason why you want this to move, as I said earlier, is when your bike is being washed and you pull the tire off, you don't need to worry about whether the chain is perfectly lined up when you clamp this in to put the chain around it. So that means you're not hassling with the chain. The other guys, you fight with the chain to get it lined up. This thing moves to accommodate wherever the chain wants to be. Because you know how the chain is when it's off the wheel. It can kink or do different things. So you don't have any hassle. And this being the circular form of a cog, the chain sits in here and it doesn't slip out. That was another problem with this and the Morgan Blue. If you weren't careful, the chain would slip out from time to time. So this works great. And I think the price point is like $17. I'll put the link back there so you guys down in the description so you guys can get it. But I feel really good about this and I'm excited. This will be the product I will be using when I wash my bikes because they have solved two problems I was having. The Morgan Blue was okay, but I got to the point where I didn't want to use it because it was a hassle getting it perfectly lined up. It had no motion. And that's why I can't find it today. I don't even know where I laid it down, but I haven't used it in months and it's missing somewhere. I had been using the Pedros and then accommodating the shape. The shape was a hassle because of this movement. The chain didn't stay in there the way I like it to stay. But this solves the problem. The chain will not have anywhere to go. You can see how deep the recess is that the chain goes in. So every cyclist needs to have this because if you don't clean your bike regularly, especially, and that's another reason people don't ride in the rain, they're worried about, is most of the cleanup. But riding in the rain should not be something that stops you. If you already heard, if you get a mud guard on your bike, cuts down your cleanup to minimum. The last time I rode in the rain was 2 weeks ago. We went on a ride and it started to rain. And I didn't even have my shoe covers or anything. But when I came home, I took my shoes off, put it in front of a little heater. It's made by a company called Vornado. It blows air. It's not one of those heaters that get red to where you can see. It just blows warm air. I put it on low and in 2 hours, my shoes were dry. I took the soles out. And that's what you want. You don't want a shoe sitting around damp and then it gets smelly and bacteria start growing in there. So if it's sunny, you can put your shoes outside. It will dry just as well. But I just put it in front of the little warm fan and within 2 hours, my shoe was ready to go. Now, if you have shoe covers, of course, they minimized the issues depending on how good the shoe covers are. But I'm getting a little off topic. What I want to focus on here is don't be hesitant to clean your bike. It's part of maintenance. If you don't keep your drivetrain clean, they wear faster, okay? And that's critical because our drivetrain is exposed. And those of you know, after every ride, whether it's raining or dry, I clean my drivetrain with a rag. It's the dirt that you get off of it that grinds into your components. So the same dust that gets on your shins and so forth, that gets on your drivetrain when you're outside. So you need to wipe that thing down after every ride. You don't have to lube after every ride, just remove the dirt. Clean it with the towel until the towel is relatively clean, and then you're good because you're not leaving anything there that will be ground in on your next ride. That's the key. So you need one of these. You don't have to take off your wheel to clean your chain, but when you're washing the bike, you want to remove the wheel so you can wash the wheel, clean the chain, the free wheel, and keep clean the chain while it's on the bike. You don't want the chain to be rubbing on your chain stay. So this chain keeper is perfect to keep the chain there. So when you degrease it, you can take a sponge or whatever you use and clean it like I did in that video. So the only thing I would change in my video is I would be using this tool because this is so well made. It feels like a very high, for $17, I mean, this is made to where it's actually, it has more value than that. The quality is clear. And that's why I showed you the difference between that and the Pedros. I don't know what the deal is here, but this had so much movement, it was too flimsy. This is a precision made tool, and I will definitely be using it on all my cleanup jobs for all my bikes. So I love it. So thanks to Sportiques. Like I said, the link will be down there. You need to get one because every rider at some point gets caught in the rain, and you don't need to be afraid of riding in the rain. You need to make sure you get your shoe covers and whatever you need. Get mud guards so you don't come up with that dirt on your back. I hate that. You know, last ride I was on, I didn't have my mud guards on the bike, and I had to do a lot of cleanup. I cleaned my jersey right after I got back because if you don't, the dirt can set in. You know, so that's the biggest hassle. So I just wanted to introduce you guys to this. And this is an excellent tool. You can't go wrong. It's the Chain Keeper by Sportiques. Check down the description for the link. So you've got your wrenches. You've got whether the individual or the three-way. You've got your chain keeper. Another critical thing for every cyclist, you need a bike stand. You need something that will hold your bike. Let me turn this thing around. And I'll put a link down there to this one because I think this is the best value. It's a few $100s for this, but it's worth it. This thing folds. You can fold it completely and put it. It comes with a bag that you could take to a race if you needed to. If you ever felt like you needed to go to a race or a ride or a sportif to where you might want to work with your bike. I've never had the need to do that. This is one of two stands that I have. This is the one you guys see on most of my videos that's here. I use this a lot. It even has a tray that holds the tools. Let me move this thing down just a little bit to show you the tray. I think you can see that, yeah. There's the tray that holds all my tools, and it has a little place for you to hang your towels. I have a lot of towels on here because I use them until they get really dirty, and then I chuck them because if you try to get them clean, it's just a hassle. Don't ever try to clean your shop rags in your washing machine. You will leave a lot of grease in there. You're not going to be very popular in the household. It's not worth it. They have commercial establishments that will clean them for you if you want to do that. But for me, I don't bother. I just get a bag, get a new bag. The biggest thing here on this is that it's foldable completely. So if you don't have a lot of space and you don't want to keep it standing all the time, it's easy to fold and put in a corner until you're ready to use it. The mechanism here, I'm going to turn it this way so maybe you can see it better. This mechanism, when you're getting the bike on there, this thing has a spring-driven release. And what I like about it is you put your bike in here and you just move this over. Once it clamps, then you tighten right here. That is just so easy to use. So I've been through a lot of stands over the years, and this one just fit the bill perfectly. Okay. The name on this one says Ultimate Support. Ultimate Support was a company that was bought out by another company. I'll put the link down there for this, but they basically have the same stand, just rebranded. same quality, because I even have gotten parts from the new company. Almost like how Cyrus and the Cyclops got merged and became Cyrus. So it's the same kind of thing. The product is the same. It's been improved somewhat. And what I did was I took the link for this product and put it on my website because I liked it so much. So many people had asked. I put it out there. So if you guys are interested in getting this stand, it will save you a lot of headache down the road. Park Tool has a stand also. They're a lot pricier than this. And I don't believe they have more of a function that supersedes what this does. There are many different kinds of stands. There are stands that you can rivet into the floor, like in a shop environment. I like this one because it's portable. Okay, I don't need it in one position. I can move it anywhere I want. I can take it outside if I want to wash my bike and use this. But with a stand, it's a lot easier after the ride to just stick your bike on here. That's what I usually do is this way. I stick the bike on here, squeeze this over, clamp it, and I can just clean my chain while I'm standing. It's a lot better than trying to bend over and clean and have the bike leaning on something, and you may scuff your handlebars or your saddle and all that kind of stuff. So yes, a stand is very critical. Next thing every cyclist needs is not necessarily a maintenance. I've said that before. You need an indoor trainer. If you're gonna be serious about cycling, don't kid yourself. You're gonna need an indoor trainer. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You need that to keep your training, consistent. You need that. Okay. So the biggest thing I want to stress, your tools that you will need, start slowly, build up, get a few Allen wrenches, get a 4, 5, and 6, get a 3, 4, 5, and 6 to start. And whether you get this 3-way or not is up to you, but it's good to have. You're going to do any work around at home. This is not for the road. This is for at home. But if you keep up your bike at home, you're not going to be hassling with it on the road. I never have issues on the road. I only take a tool like this on the road when I change my cleat or if my cleat comes loose. You know, initially, whenever I change my cleat, even though I mark it, sometimes they shift on you. And so the first few rides after I put new cleats on, I always have this with me. I just slip it in my pocket or in my tool bag or something. It's just good to have. And that way I can just loosen it and readjust if it's off a little bit. And that's strictly done by feel. Cleats are very subjective. So let me wrap up. Basic tools every cyclist needs. Allen wrenches. A 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Basic. If you're going to do more jobs like getting into bottom brackets and other things, you're going to definitely need to invest in torque wrenches and then investigate the process of your particular bottom bracket replacement or installation before you start the job so you can know which tools you need to buy. Always go through the whole process, watching a video or talking to a local expert or whatever, and knowing everything you're going to need before you start any new kind of maintenance on your bike that you've never done before. You don't want to start doing the work and then get stuck and not have the right tools. And never do the job with the wrong tools. You can damage stuff or even hurt yourself. Always know what you're doing before you get into it. Now, a caveat to that is just because you get these tools doesn't mean that the bike shop is obsolete. There are certain jobs you may choose to take to the bike shop, and there may be certain jobs you may need the bike shop for. For example, a seized bottom bracket. If somebody didn't take care of a prior bike that you got a hold of, or maybe you let your bike go for a while, you may need to go there so they can use the special vice grips and everything they have and know what to do to unstick something that you got seized. So always keep in mind, they have a purpose, but for minor stuff, you shouldn't have to go there all the time. As far as, you should learn how to replace a chain. And if you need to replace a chain, you will definitely need a chain tool. They have different chain tools on here. The one I use is made by Pedros, the Pedros Tudo. The reason why I like this is it will do 9, 10, and 11 speed chains. I don't like to get chain tools that are for just one specific chain. That's not a very good investment. So it's an excellent tool. It works really well. I will put the link down there too. And so if you want to get that, you can get that. But the key is that you don't need to be able to do everything on your bike, but you need to understand enough about it to know what's going on so you know when to take it in for maintenance. If you do that, you will never have surprises on the road. So with that, I want to wrap up and just let you guys know that no matter what, don't let anything stop you